These 8 useful English words will boost your everyday fluency and your IELTS, TOEFL, or Cambridge score. And you won't just memorize them. You'll meet each one inside the story, feel what it means, then prove you caught it. That's how your brain keeps them for good. We had practiced the cover songs for 3 months, note for perfect note. And on the night of the biggest gig of our lives, the song that saved us was the silly one I had written in 10 minutes and never dared to play for anyone. We were 4 friends from school and we called ourselves the Spare Keys. We wanted more than anything in the world to win the town battle of the bands. So we did what we thought we should. We copied the famous chart bands, note for note, chasing their slick, glossy sound. The trouble was, we were only ever mediocre at it. A copy of a great band is, at its very best, a mediocre version of someone else. What nobody knew was that I wrote songs. Late at night, alone in my room, I made up my own little tunes. Daft, simple, happy things. I had a certain knack for a melody that stuck in your head, but I was far too shy to share them. Once I had hummed one to the others, and they had laughed, so I had buried my small knack deep down and said nothing more about it. The night of the gig, the hall was packed. We climbed onto the stage, plugged in, and strummed the opening of our most polished cover. And the crowd did nothing. They had heard the real version 100 times, and ours was a pale copy. By the second song, people were talking over us. By the third, a few at the back began to jeer, and someone shouted for us to get off the stage. I have never felt so small in all my life. And then it all fell apart. Halfway through the chorus, our main amplifier gave a loud bang, a puff of smoke, and simply died. The guitar cut out. The drums stumbled and stopped. We stood there, 4 frozen teenagers in a sudden, total silence, while 400 people stared at us and the jeering grew louder. It was the worst moment of my entire life. I do not know what made me do it. Maybe I just had nothing left to lose. With only my bass still working, unplugged and quiet, I began to strum the simple, bouncing rhythm of my own daft little song, the one they had laughed at. And then, very softly, I started to sing it. It was nothing like the polished covers. It was just a small, catchy tune about our own town, our own friends, and our own silly lives. For one horrible second, nothing happened at all. Then Mia picked up the beat on a single drum. Priya found the melody on her dead guitar strings, acoustic and bare, and the crowd went quiet in a completely different way. They were listening. By the second chorus, that catchy little song had got right into them, and a strange new buzz began to spread through the hall, the buzz of 400 people leaning in, starting to smile, starting to move. By the last chorus, the whole hall was singing it back to us, a song they had never heard before that night, because I had written it in my bedroom only 3 weeks ago. Our broken, unplugged, half-acoustic mess had done the one thing all our perfect covers never could. It had electrified the room. Nothing electrifies a crowd, I learned, like something that is simply true. We did not play another cover that night. We played 2 more of my songs instead, and the buzz in that hall lifted us right off our feet. When the winners were announced at the end, the Spare Keys, the band that had broken down on stage, had somehow won. Not for the covers we had slaved over for months, for the silly little song I had almost been far too afraid to play. Afterwards, the man who ran the contest came and shook my hand. "You were all set to give us a mediocre copy of somebody else," he said. "Then the amp blew, and instead you gave us you. That is the only thing a crowd has ever really wanted. I have never once forgotten it." We stopped chasing other bands' sounds after that night. We played our own songs, the catchy, imperfect, honest ones, and we slowly got better and better at being nobody but ourselves. The knack I had buried out of shame turned out to be the best thing the whole band had. And I learned, on the worst and the best night of my life, that the world already has more than enough perfect copies. What it is always short of is the brave, strummed, slightly out-of-tune sound of someone finally being real. Now, and did you catch all 8? Let's find out. A noun for a single live music show that a band plays. It's the evening show a group books to play at a club or a hall. Winning the town battle of the bands meant the biggest one of their lives. The band climbed on stage for the biggest what they had ever played. The word is gig. The band played a sold-out gig at the small town hall. A verb meaning to play a guitar by sweeping across its strings. It's the easy rhythmic way you play chords around a campfire. Theo did this on his bass to begin his own little song. He began to do what, sweep the strings to the simple bouncing beat of his tune. The word is strum. She likes to strum her guitar softly on the back porch. A noun for a feeling of excited, humming energy in a crowd. It's the electric hum of a room that can feel something good coming. A strange new one of these spread through the hall as Theo sang, a growing what lifted the whole band right off their feet. The word is buzz. There was a real buzz in the stadium before the big match. An adjective for a tune that sticks instantly in your head. Think of an advert jingle you cannot stop humming for days. Theo's daft little song turned out to be exactly this. That small, what kind of tune got into the crowd until they all sang along. The word is catchy. The song had a catchy chorus that everyone was soon singing. A verb meaning to mock, boo, or shout rudely at someone. It's what an unkind audience does to a performer they dislike. The bored crowd began to do this during the band's dull covers. A few people at the back began to do what? Mock loudly and shout for them to stop. The word is jeer. The angry crowd began to jeer as the speaker walked off stage. A noun for a natural, easy skill or talent for something. It's the special touch that lets someone do a tricky thing with ease. Theo had this for writing a melody that stuck in your head. His buried what for a good tune turned out to save the whole band. The word is knack. She has a real knack for fixing things everyone else gives up on. An adjective meaning second-rate, ordinary, and only average. Think of a flat, forgettable meal that is neither good nor bad. Their careful copies of famous songs were always exactly this. A copy of a great band is, at best, a what kind of version of someone else. The word is mediocre. The film had a great cast but a sadly mediocre script. A verb meaning to thrill and excite a crowd suddenly, all at once. It's what a surprise-winning goal does to a packed stadium. Theo's honest little song did this to the whole board hall. Their raw, broken, half-acoustic song managed to do what? Thrill, all at once. The room. The word is electrify. One brilliant solo can electrify an entire concert hall in seconds. Quick recap. How many do you still remember? Gig. Strum. Buzz. Catchy. Jeer. Knack. Mediocre. Electrify. A new English story every day. Subscribe and learn useful words the way your brain actually keeps them. Inside a story you won't forget.